The story that you are about to hear is a compilation of documented true facts, featuring characters, events, or places that has played a role in shaping history. Please sit back and listen as I recite this narrative for you. Symptoms of what became known as the Havana Syndrome were first reported by CIA officials and State Department employees working at the American Embassy in the Cuban capital in late 2016. An American diplomat working at the U.S. Embassy in Havana reported hearing unusual noises outside his home. He was dubbed Patient Zero, and he describes the noise as annoying. He even claims to have asked his next-door neighbor about the noise, and he was told that he too had heard a mechanical sound. After a few months, another employee stated that he had hearing loss, which he attributed to the strange sound. And soon, everyone who worked for the embassy was talking about it. They also began to experience symptoms such as memory loss, mental stupor, hearing problems, and headaches. They described hearing harsh mechanical sounds and/or experiencing uncomfortable pressure, like the sensation of driving fast in a car with one window partially down. Some sufferers have said that when the symptoms first emerged, it felt like they were being hit with a beam of energy. Vertigo, vision problems, and difficulty concentrating have also been reported. Hearing loss followed the auditory symptoms for some of the diplomats and agents, with some cases intense enough that employees were forced to end their tours early and return to the U.S. for study and outpatient treatment. These noises are said to last between 20 and 30 minutes and always occurred while the diplomats were at home or in hotel rooms. Other people nearby, including family members and guests in neighboring rooms, reported hearing nothing. Some U.S. Embassy employees have suffered long-term health consequences, including one unidentified diplomat who is now said to require a hearing aid. The State Department stated that the health issues were the result of an attack or exposure to an unknown device, and that it was not blaming the Cuban government but would not say who was to blame. People who were affected described symptoms such as hearing loss, memory loss, and nausea. Theoretical speculation centered on a sonic weapon, with some researchers pointing to ultrasound as a possible cause. Other theories regarding the cause for the underlying phenomenon were microwaves, crickets, pesticides or infectious agents, and even psychogenic origin. But each theory presented was rejected. In response to the illnesses, the U.S. expelled 2 Cuban diplomats in August 2017. The following month, the U.S. State Department announced that it would be removing non-essential personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Havana and warned U.S. citizens not to travel to Cuba. Due to concerns about health attacks on staff, the United States State Department announced on March 2, 2018, that it would continue to staff its embassy in Havana at the bare minimum required to perform core diplomatic and consular functions. The embassy had been in ordered departure status since September, but it was about to expire. This announcement effectively extended the staff cuts indefinitely. MRI scans and other tests performed on an unspecified number of Canadian diplomats by a top neurologist in Pittsburgh revealed evidence of brain damage similar to that suffered by some of their American counterparts. Global Affairs Canada ended family postings to Cuba in early 2018 and withdrew all staff with families. Several Canadians affected in 2017 were reported to be unable to return to work due to the severity of their ailments. By late 2018, there were 26 Americans and 13 Canadians suffering from nausea, hearing loss, vertigo, nosebleeds, and difficulty concentrating. Victims in all of the cases claimed that a strange noise they heard in their homes or hotel rooms triggered the symptoms. The noise, according to one witness, was high-pitched. Another person described a sound beam pointed into their rooms. Some claimed that the noise was more akin to marbles rolling across the floor. In some cases, people have reported only feeling pain in specific locations, such as hotel rooms or apartments, and not anywhere else. Within 5 years, more than 100 U.S. spies, diplomats, and defense officials in China, Russia, Austria, The White House and elsewhere had reported similar symptoms of the mysterious illness. While the symptoms have primarily affected Americans, several Canadian officials have also reported Havana syndrome. After a 14th Canadian diplomat reported symptoms of Havana syndrome in late December 2018, the Canadian government announced in 2019 that it was reducing its embassy staff in Havana. Several Canadian diplomats sued the Canadian government in February 29, claiming that the government failed to protect them or address serious health concerns in a timely manner. The government has sought dismissal of the lawsuit, arguing in November 2019 that it was not negligent and did not violate its duties to its employees. The government acknowledged in court filings that several of the 14 plaintiffs in the suit experienced concussion-like symptoms, but claimed no definitive cause or medical diagnosis had been established. After the incident became public, Cuba's foreign minister accused the U.S. of lying about it and denied Cuban involvement in or knowledge of the cause of the diplomat's health problems. The Cuban government offered to work with the U.S. to investigate the incidents. It used about 2,000 scientists and law enforcement officers to interview 300 diplomats' neighbors, inspect 2 hotels, and conduct medical exams on non-diplomats who could have been exposed. Cuban officials stated that they examined air and soil samples, as well as a variety of toxic chemicals. They also investigated the possibility that electromagnetic waves were to blame, as well as the possibility that insects were to blame, but found nothing that could be linked to the claimed medical symptoms. The FBI and Cuban authorities met to discuss the situation. The Cubans stated that the U.S. had not agreed to share the diplomats' medical records with Cuban authorities, nor had it allowed Cuban investigators to conduct tests at the diplomats' homes. Initially, U.S. officials believed that Americans in Cuba had been targeted with a covert sonic weapon that operated outside the normal range of human hearing. Officials and their families stationed in Russia, Poland, Austria, Georgia, Taiwan, Colombia, China, Kyrgyzstan, the United Kingdom, and Uzbekistan have reported the phenomenon that began in Havana. 4 years later, a popular theory among some intelligence officials contends that the symptoms are an unintended consequence of an energy device used to collect data from smartphones or laptops. Following its success in affecting people, foreign government may now be intentionally weaponizing the symptoms. In 2018, Congress directed the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention to investigate the illness, which resulted in the Cuba Unexplained Events investigation. According to the report, the officials' medical histories could not explain their symptoms, and the delay between the pain and subsequent testing hampered CDC's ability to discriminate patterns in the data. Since Joe Biden's election, approximately 24 U.S. intelligence officers, diplomats, and other government officials in Vienna have reported mysterious illnesses similar to the Havana syndrome. According to U.S. officials, the number of possible new cases in the Austrian capital, which has long been a nexus of the U.S. and Russian espionage, is now greater than the number reported by officials in any city other than Havana, where the first cases were reported. The exact cause of the Vienna ailments, which U.S. government agencies formally refer to as anomalous health incidents or unexplained health incidents, remains unknown. But in response to the surge, the CIA, the State Department, and other agencies are redoubling their efforts to determine the cause and identify the culprit or culprits. The United States still does not know who or what is responsible for the incidents. There is no physical evidence of a weapon, and Moscow, China, and Havana all deny any involvement in the attacks, assuming there were any attacks to deny. Hey everyone, I just wanted to say that I am incredibly grateful that you took time out of your schedule to listen to my narration. This is Nikki of Twysted Mind, wishing you a great rest of your day. Salamat.